6:38 p.m. on Monday, April 18th. We're going to call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Montgomery Selectboard. First item of business, as always, is to review and make any changes to the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or deletions to the agenda? No? Okay. I have one thing I'd just like to bring up under Public Works. It's just getting replacement signage for the public safety building, library out here.
Oh.
Someone brought up the fact that the signage is kind of dated. It's set back a bit, so we can talk about whether or not we just want to get a quote for some new signage.
Is that way out by the road, or?
Yeah, out by 242 right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the only item that I was. Yes.
Yeah.
Julie, the appointment of Karen Stanley.
So, because that wasn't warned on the agenda, I don't think we can formally make that appointment at this meeting, but we can make it at our first meeting in May.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, that's after our next meeting, okay.
Well, our first meeting in May is going to be before.
Maybe May 2nd.
Yeah, May 2nd is our first meeting, so I don't think that the concert.
Yeah, and ours would be like the 7th, yeah.
Yeah, so we can do that before your next meeting.
Yeah,
Yep.
the 4th.
Yep, great. All right, so because there's only 3 of us and Leanne and Emily aren't here, as we go through the agenda, there might be some things that we'll table until we have the full board present, but we'll leave them on the agenda for now just so we can head them. Great, so that's item 1. Item 2 on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes of the April 4th board meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Great, we've got a motion to approve from Suzanne. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Mark. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries, unless that was a opposition. Great, we have approved the minutes of April 4th. Next up is Public Works. So first off is just a check-in on roads and bridges, mud season updates. So Mark, hand it off to you.
We're just continuing, trying to grade the roads and try to get them back into shape. So, well, rainy weather hasn't helped matters.
Yeah.
Charlie can't hear.
The rainy weather hasn't helped matters. We're trying to get the roads back into shape. But we got most of the stone in, the big holes and stuff, and now we're just putting material back, pulling material back and trying to, just get the roads graded at least once.
Great.
But hopefully the weather will hold. Like today we gained quite a bit. We worked on West Hill and got quite a bit done up there. So
Good.
That's what the plan is right now.
How much, like percentage-wise of town, where do you think you are as far as grading goes? Are we like a third of the way, half of the way, 2/3 of the way?
Probably a third.
A third. Okay, that's fine. I'm just
Yes.
curious in my own head, like where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just things need to dry out, because the stuff we pushed aside is once it dries, we can put it back on top.
Yep.
So we won't have to bring in so much material. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a matter of it drying out.
Yep. Good. Cool.
Yeah.
Any other general road updates?
Not too much at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. We're still kind of before the kickoff of like project season, so there's not really any project updates per se in terms of things getting rolling yet, I imagine.
Well, I'm trying to get, some contractors lined up for some of the projects.
Yep.
So I get them on my list, and so that, that's what I'm working on now.
Okay.
Just trying to get things lined up, so we're ready for, we're on your list. So
Okay, good.
that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
The only other item under roads and bridges, maybe it should be under buildings and grounds, but it's just the paving quotes. And so just as a reminder, we did get one quote in from Hungerford Paving in the amount of $62,100. Mark, I think, has reached out to
I've reached out to Pike and a few other paving companies, and really, none of them really got back to me. So, I mean, I think we'll just go with the Hungerford. It seemed like a reasonable quote.
Okay.
And for what they're doing, yeah.
Great.
And,
Yeah, and so, you know, typically with stuff like this, we try to get at least a few different quotes for the work.
Yeah.
In the instance where other contractors won't provide quotes, at least the contact's been made and we attempted, so, we've done our due diligence. So, so we can get the ball rolling on this, the motion on the floor then would be to approve the Hungerford paving contract for the PSB lot in the amount of $62,100. Suzanne, do you wanna make that motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Great, I will second that motion. And then, I don't know if, I guess you don't have to abstain from this one, it doesn't deal with any kind of contractual stuff, it's more project-based, so,
Yeah,
okay, great.
I don't think so.
Great, so then, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the Hungerford paving contract in the amount of $62,100. Is there any further discussion?
Is this funding coming out of the ARPA or is it out of?
Yeah, so the question from Suzanne was whether it's gonna come from the ARPA funds or the general budget, so we'll talk about ARPA in a little bit. But right now, it's budgeted out of the general budget, so we've got $60,000 in there, I think, for paving. Or
I think we had almost 90.
or almost 90, so
Yeah.
we have money in there for paving. We'll talk about ARPA in a bit, but we can get into we can use ARPA funds for this as well.
Yeah.
So, this is a little tangential, but I think that we're gonna do a budget review at our next meeting to see where we're landing coming into FY '23. There might be some gaps there in public works to fill, and so what we might look to do is absorb the budgeted money for the paving into the public works budget and go to ARPA like we had thought about doing initially anyway for the project.
Yeah,
So, Aaron will have those budget review documents at our next meeting, so we can kind of see where we're shaking out coming out of mud season.
yeah,
But more direct answer to your question, we can use the ARPA funds.
Okay.
We do have money budgeted in the general fund for it. Yeah.
all good, yeah.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the Hungerford paving quote for the PSB lot at $62,100, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. We've adopted the quote. You wanna
Yeah.
call them tomorrow and let them know that we can get that scheduled?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, well, see, we've gotta do some, get it ready first, the temple, you know. our-
Yeah, the prep work.
The prep work, but he told me he'd come out while we're doing the prep work to make sure we get it set up, we don't know it, so.
Great,
So that'll be good, we got him on board now, so.
awesome. And I'll check in with Northwest Solid Waste District to let them know that we are doing the work and also float the ask as to whether they wanna help support the work with any financial contributions.
Some of the reason it's costing this much is because we gotta make it really,
Yeah,
cause he saw the dumpsters there and he said, wow, we gotta do it to this specs, you know, so they won't ruin it.
yeah,
And so it's really costing us a little bit more because we have to build those specs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that something to spend $60,000, doesn't that need to be approved by the voters?
No, it was in the budget, just as past paving projects have been in the budget, and so, the, come again, Merle, you broke up there. One more, sorry, we didn't quite hear you, Merle.
Yeah, I think I've got I think my internet is kind of causing problems, but I guess, I know I didn't realize that this had been approved by the voters. If it was, I didn't realize it.
Okay, well, it was.
The article in the warning was there.
There was no article in the warning because the money to pave the lot was, it was included right in the budget itself, as an expenditure, and I believe in the budget letter, it referenced paving the PSB lot as being one of the items in line X. I don't have it in front of me.
Under projects.
Under projects and events, I think.
Don't you think that something like that should really be an article in a warning so everybody's aware of it and actually gets to vote on it?
It is a lot of money. I mean, we paved West Hill and Hill West, at almost
160.
3 times that amount, and we didn't put it in the warning for town meeting, so, I don't know. I guess it's a good discussion to have as to whether there's a cap that the community would like to have something presented versus statutorily required to present it.
Well, it need to be transparent, I think, don't you?
Oh, totally, yeah, and like I said, I believe if you go back to the town report, in the budget letter, I believe the project is referenced there, and then that amount is in the public works budget, so,
Like itemized in that budget?
well, it's not, it doesn't say, if you look at the budget in the town report, it doesn't say paving, but the dollar figure is built into the line item there. Which is,
Of course, we couldn't do it, sure, anyway, because we didn't have, Australian ballot, something like that. I mean, it needs to be, certainly when we have open town meeting, that it needs to be, so be discussed, people can voice their opinion and so forth.
yeah,
Spend that kind of money.
no, I agree, and I mean, you're right, we didn't have a floor meeting this year, but we did have the two informational meetings that folks are more than welcome to come to and ask questions, and yeah, we couldn't amend the budget from the floor, the budget could have been voted down, I mean, if folks had concerns coming out of the informational meetings on it.
Charlie,
Yes, Sue?
in your letter on page 9, under expenses, it says projects and events as described above is related to the unreserved fund number, and then it goes on to say other things, and it says, these include paving the public safety building parking lot, grant match slash town share requirements for the Trout Riverbank stabilization project. So it is right on page 9 of the town report under expenses.
Okay,
I remember paving a parking lot, yeah, that certainly needs to be done. I don't remember the expansion of the library.
We're talking about the paving of the parking lot right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
oh yeah, sorry, so that's the quote we're looking at is for the paving of this lot out here, yep.
Yeah,
Yep. But 100% agree that a floor meeting allows for better conversation about this, Merle. I'm right there with you, that a floor meeting is what we want to get back to.
yeah.
Okay, so Mark will run with that, we'll get that lined up. Buildings and grounds, the 98 Main Street update that I've got for tonight is, so following up on last meeting, the post office, as we discussed, is intent on staying there. They have not confirmed whether or not they want to take over the entire building or not. I'm waiting on a response for that. I have been talking with the folks from the Postal Realty Trust, which is that company that buys real estate that is currently used by the post office and then leases it back to them. They are very interested in the building. They're gonna have a quote, or they're gonna have an offer to us, I thought by today, but hopefully coming in this week, that we can look at and reflect on. I've also talked to the Montgomery Community Project, I think is their name, about this co-work space idea. They're trying to get some quotes on their end for renovation costs. So we're trying to basically weigh all the options. I think what it's gonna come down to in the next month or so is the board's gonna have to make a decision as to whether or not the building is more of a liability than an asset. And if it is a greater liability than an asset, what do we wanna do with it? And, you know, selling it is potentially an option. So I'll keep getting information from those avenues about what the options are, and we'll bring it back to the board for a discussion and decision.
No parking lot, huh?
No, it doesn't look like we're gonna pave it and put a parking lot up.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the update there. There's no update from the PSB Town Office Renovation Committee, so we'll table that for this evening. Anything else that you've got, Mark, for buildings and grounds?
They didn't have any estimate for the survey cost yet?
No, so we have the estimate from Harvey. Liz was gonna chase down an estimate from Mike Jarvis,
Oh, okay.
and we haven't gotten that one in yet, so
Okay.
yeah, we'll see where that lands. And then we gotta go back to the library and chat about whether or not they're willing to split costs with us.
Okay.
Yeah. Any water commission updates?
Yes, Scott goes for another exam May sixth.
May 6th, great.
So, yeah, keep our fingers crossed.
Awesome.
Happens this time.
Good.
And we're been doing a little bit of work on the pump station up by the school. We got both pumps reconditioned, and then we're doing a little bit of work on the building. And for electrical, there was having some electrical problems in the building.
Okay, good. So those are the pickup trucks that I've been seeing.
Yeah.
parked at- Okay,
Yeah,
okay, good.
yeah,
I would get worried when like, why are there pickup trucks parked at the pump station?
yeah, they've been, yeah. The hard part is getting some parts, you know, that they need, so.
Good,
So, then that building will be fixed up.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Good. That's great.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else with Water Commission, we can go on to the TAP project on Longley Bridge. The update there is that the right-of-way, all the legal filings and right-of-way work and basically back-end paperwork we have to do is all complete now. And so we are now basically done all of our homework to get them ready to then start work as soon as they're able to. So I gotta talk to Linda tomorrow about that scheduling, but all of the kind of right-of-way legal work that they needed in place before we can move on to this next step is complete, so that's good.
The work we did there last year has held up well.
Yeah,
I wish we could just
do the
go
whole thing that
on,
way.
just go on both ends a little farther
Yeah.
and call it a day, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'd go for that.
yeah, probably not. They need their cut too.
I guess so, but,
So we'll keep everybody updated about the progress there.
yeah.
And then the last item under Public Works that I added is just this idea of new signage for this building.
Oh,
So there's existing signage out by the road for the public safety building and the library. It's been noted by a number of people in town over the last year that the signage is set back from the road kind of far. And so if you're actually coming up or down 242, you really don't see it, especially coming down 242 until you're like right there at it. And then given the additional functions that are gonna be happening at this building, it might be nice to get signage that actually says, you know, town office,
yeah,
fire department. So what I was just gonna ask the board permission for was to get a hold of JD, who did the signs for the community, the rec
Yeah.
center, and
Yeah.
see if he'd be willing to kind of mock something up and start thinking about a quote for a new
Yeah.
sign for this building.
Yeah, I think it's time.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So I'll get a hold of JD and see if he can start, working something up and getting us some quotes for
Yeah.
what that might look like.
Yeah.
And that takes us through Public Works, unless you've got anything else, Mark, that's,
No, not right now.
okay. Okay, great. So that's a little bit before 7, but it's close enough, so if you want, we can pivot to visitors. Merle, you were first one on the call this evening, so if you've got anything for visitors, the floor is yours.
Couple questions. Are there gonna be light snowflakes?
The snowflakes, Sue can comment here, but I don't believe they're gonna be lit. What they do have in them is a reflective, glittery paint. The idea being that they will catch light essentially, but they will not actually be lit up individually.
Right.
Okay, I know. I wish, I guess nobody considered it, but what you would maybe discuss perhaps putting only half of the number of wreaths up, which would have reduced the cost to very close to your snowflakes, and we would still have a nice Christmas light
We did cut the
on
wreath,
every other pole town.
we did cut the wreaths down, we did cut the number of wreaths down. Remember, we bought the banners, so we have banners, and now instead of a wreath, we'll have the snowflake, and it's like every other pole. So the snowflakes are actually costing, probably like a third of what the banners cost.
Banners, you mean, banners or wreaths?
Banners. The banners that we bought, we had banners and wreaths last year.
They're the ones that,
Is it greetings.
The ones that say season's greetings on them.
Right. That's what we had last year.
Yeah.
We had banners and wreaths. This year it's gonna be banners and snowflakes.
Okay. Well, it's not a huge amount of money either way, but whatever we have. The wreaths through towns do look really nice during the Christmas season. That's all.
Yes, they're cost prohibitive though, so.
Well,
$2,000 or $3,000?
Well-
All the money we spent on things?
well, Merle, we're gonna try this coming year, knock on wood, to do a better job of lighting up the green, as well as the tree in front of the Grange Hall. So our hope is that we're gonna have lit greenery, you know, for the season as well. So it's not, so we're trying to account for that elsewhere.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I guess, Mark, does any employees at the town garage, run the grader, or do you have to hire Billy all the time?
Well, we're working on getting training on the grader so that we can do the grading ourselves. But during mud season, it's a hard time to learn how to do the grading, so we're trying to get training on it so that we won't have to have Billy, helping us anymore.
Okay. Now, that's great. I don't know if you've looked at the Better Bank Roads, man, but boy, that's like a school.
Oh, yeah,
And it gives every detail.
oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I do,
I think a great help to somebody.
yeah. Oh,
And
I
then my
know
thing
the book.
is, I've seen on the agenda, was there consideration of paying the dog officer or animal control officer $250 a month? Is that under consideration?
So the individual that we're have in mind for the dog officer position is currently has that position in 2 other communities, and our understanding is that that is what she is currently getting in those communities. Coming out of our last meeting, the next step was to talk with her and see if we could get an adjustment to that rate, kind of based on population. So kind of saying, oh, if you're gonna get 250 in Enosburg that has a population of X, could we prorate it to something for Montgomery with a population of Y? So the 250 figure was part of the discussion, but it wasn't a settled payment rate.
Okay. You don't think that would be better, more appropriate?
You broke up there for a second, Merle. What would be more appropriate?
I know, I've got to call them, and I know this, my internet is acting up, it's intermittent. What's the matter, Sue?
No, it's Merle. Just could you say that again about what might be more appropriate? Because you cut off and I didn't catch that.
An hourly rate.
An hourly rate. Yeah, an hourly rate could be another way that we could handle it. So yeah, the hope is to get a hold of the candidate now we're talking to and see what we can negotiate with her. So I think we're gonna, all the options are on the table right now.
Now, I know that's more appropriate, but there's absolutely no way we could justify paying a dog officer $250 a month. I know. In 1980, the selectmen appointed Eric Coda and April myself to draw the dog orders for them, and we did. Then, of course, they needed somebody for an officer, so I was the dog officer for a number of years. And I know from firsthand, there's absolutely no way that I could earn $250 a month almost a year. Just, no. The hourly rate is appropriate, that would pay for what we do.
Yep. So like I said, all the options are on the table, and we have gone back and tried to do a budget analysis of past expenditures related to the dog officer to figure out, how much we were paying. Our problem is that we haven't had a dog officer in place for more than a 6-month period for 6 years. So it's hard to compare apples to apples, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, well, it's just, it's fair for the officer and also for the taxpayer, that's all.
Okay, thanks, Merle.
Yeah, thank you.
Sue, anything for visitors tonight? Okay, thanks. All right, so I do expect Wayne Herchebys to be here at some point, and so when he does come, we'll circle back to visitors.
Yeah.
For now, we'll keep going through old business. The first item under old business is the municipal website updates. Emily has been spearheading this, so if there's no objection, we'll table this until our next meeting when Emily's available to give an update. I do know that she and Liz met with Zach last week, so I think they are making more progress on these things, so, yeah. So item 5B, the municipal wastewater and streetscape updates. I expect the final supplement to the preliminary engineering report for the wastewater system to be in our hands this week. This final supplement to the PER is basically the last part that talks about the flow rates that we're looking at as applied to the sites we're looking at for the disposal fields. Basically, it's all the stuff the state needs to know as to whether or not they're gonna give us a permit for the indirect discharge for the system we're looking to design. It's also gonna give us a better handle on exactly how much of what lands we would need for the project. We have parcels in mind, we've done the test pits on them, but we
Yeah.
don't know is exactly how much of each parcel we might need. So we're hoping to have that supplement in our hands in the next week or so to start those conversations. The next step with the wastewater project is actually moving into the final engineering part. So once we have this next phase in hand, they'll continue moving with that aspect of it. On the streetscape side of the work, we're working on a letter of intent to the Northern Borders Regional Commission for $1 million to help get some of the streetscape work going from the rec center up into town. The way we're pitching it is as a standalone project, which would essentially connect sidewalks, pedestrian access from the rec center all the way up into the community. So you have sidewalks that go all the way up, all the way down. We'd look to bump out the shoulder there to create better off-street parallel parking at the field so that during events they're not in the road. And then there's some other stuff, but it's basically taking a phase of that larger streetscape project and trying to get some funding for that right now while we get all other ducks in a row and figure out what we want to do together on Main Street.
Yeah,
So that's the update there.
yeah.
So as soon as we have news there, we'll circulate it to the board and everybody, but that's kind of where we're at there. The next item on here is C, which is the municipal purchasing policy. We've got copies of that there. I would like to actually wait and discuss the full policy when we have the full board here. There is one part of this though that does hinge on something happening tonight. And so the way our purchasing policy is written right now is that certain individuals, Director of Public Works included, have the ability to make a purchase up to $500 without board approval. That's the limit right now. Anything beyond $500 needs to come to the board for approval prior to the expenditure. We can talk about adjusting that, but there is an expenditure that I would like to get approved tonight so that Mark can at least start running with it. And this has to do with the brooms for the sweeper. Do you have the quote right there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So what it is, we've been, we have a sweeper that goes behind our tractor. And last year, I think we hired Avery to do all the sweeping. And the year before, I think Michael's been renting a machine for the last couple of years. I mean, I can do it with our own machine, but I didn't realize I needed new brushes for the machine because it's the first time I've run it. So I think it's like a little over $1,000 for
Yep.
a set of brushes for the machine. So I just need approval to get those ordered. get them here.
sounds worthwhile, if otherwise we'd be renting or.
Yeah, if we're gonna
Yeah.
save money on renting.
Yeah.
I think we
yeah.
spent almost $5,000 on Avery last year.
Yeah,
To
so,
get it done, and then the year before, I think it was like 3,000 to rent the machine.
Yeah,
So,
seems like a no-brainer.
I've already got,
does that do the
Some done.
sidewalks too?
I do in the village,
Yeah.
yeah, I can do the sidewalks, cause I get on there with the tractor,
Yeah,
I try to. yeah.
cool.
I've already gotten done part of the village.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the brushes need replaced. so, Yeah.
Great.
Now I know, so I'll try to have it set on hand.
Yep.
in the next evening.
Can we make a motion on this though, because he,
Yeah, so, for this one, because it is an expenditure that you're bringing to the board with your public works director hat on, what I would ask is that you abstain, but we can still vote on it because it would be a majority of the members present are
With an
affirmative,
abstention.
so with an abstention, so,
Well, I'd make a motion to approve the purchase of the brushes for $1,131.50.
great, so we have a motion from Suzanne to approve the expenditure for the new brushes in the amount of $1,131.50. I will second that motion.
That included shipping, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Uh,
the shipping was
I don't know if it does.
well, the shipping was on the second line
Oh, yeah, yeah,
so I think. it
freight,
included-
yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just wanted to make sure, yeah.
and no more.
Yeah.
Alright, is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain.
We have one abstention from Mark, great, so the motion carries, so you can go ahead. What we'll do is we'll sign off on that tonight, and then Erin will cut a check. I'll let her know when she can cut the check tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think if she can just scan the check to them, then they can start shipping it earlier.
Yeah.
Sooner,
Cool.
yeah. So I'll get that done.
Okay, great, then I will, I'll email Erin right after the meeting and let her know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cause I think she's got the email.
Yep. So we'll table the purchasing policy until the full board can be here for discussion. The building use policy, item D, is also something that if there's no objection, I'd like to just do that with the whole board so that everybody's in the discussion. So if there's no objection, we'll table that until the full board is here. The third quarter budget status review, so that I'd also, if there's no objection, would like to table. Erin wasn't able to get those reports
Okay.
together for us today. And we do still have some things from mud season kind of trickling through, so if we wait until the 1st of May, we should have an accounting for most of kind of the big stuff. So have a better idea. anyway
Yeah, I
of
should
where-
have most of them,
Yeah,
the bigger bills in, yeah.
great. Which brings us to item F, which is the animal control officer appointment. So as we were just discussing, the next steps here are talking to the candidate we have in mind, nailing down and coming to an agreement on kind of the compensation, which we haven't been able to do yet, so if there's no objection, we'll carry that over to our May 2nd meeting as well.
I actually helped Sue the other day with a dog bite incident, so I went and talked to the people. and
Oh.
helped her out with it.
Where was this?
Up on West Hill,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Right, Sue?
I'm sorry, I heard you say dog bite.
I said I helped you with that incident the other day,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, exactly, and unfortunately, the woman has to go through the rabies shots, so she's had 3, she has 3 more
Oh, okay,
The woman who was
that she
bit?
has to go
Yeah.
through. And, cause the rabies shot that the dog had,
wasn't up to date.
had expired in 2020, so the dog was unvaccinated. So the dog has now been vaccinated. It got vaccinated last Friday, April 15th, but the hospital, the woman had to go down to UVM. She wound up having 3 stitches
Yeah.
in the back of her right leg.
Oh,
And so she has engaged an attorney, because her insurance, I don't know, it's something with her insurance and they may not pay all the bills. But I'm sure that Paul and Chris Christie will, pay through their homeowner's insurance or whatever, I don't know, they'll
Doesn't-
pay the bills that she doesn't get covered.
Then the dog's been put under quarantine for 10 days, still under quarantine.
Yes, the dog has to be contained quarantine. And the woman called me yesterday and said that they had gone by the house on Sunday and the dog was on the porch and did not look like it was tethered or whatever. And I said to her, the people told me that they would contain the dog and that the dog would be tethered. It can be outside, it just can't leave their property.
Okay,
So she said, well, it doesn't look like the dog is so
Oh, okay.
okay, well,
I've done it.
yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for doing that, Sue.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll bring that to the May 2nd meeting. That brings us to new business. The first item here is the ARPA funds, the standard allowance resolution. So essentially what shook out with the ARPA rulemaking process that we kept waiting to see, like, what are they gonna do, what are they gonna say? The feds basically said that they're gonna give a blanket kind of acknowledgement that every community had revenue loss due to COVID, and that revenue loss was, I don't know how they phrased it, basically like upwards of around $500,000. And they basically said that any community can take a standard allowance and just take the ARPA money they received and put it into the general fund and
Oh.
spend it however they want to.
Huh.
So what this means is that the $359,000 that we're getting from ARPA actually will not go and cannot go into the reserve fund that we created at town meeting.
Okay.
Our intentions were great, and other towns did this too, but because the reserve fund connotates a special reserve for the money, that wouldn't allow us to use the standard allowance, basically saying our general fund took a big hit. So we're gonna take this money and put it in the general fund to make up for the big hit.
Oh, okay.
If we put it in the reserve fund, that would be saying that the general fund doesn't need it because it wasn't a big hit, kind of. That's my understanding.
my
Oh,
God.
okay.
So basically we get a free pass to do anything we want with
Yeah,
this
so
money.
what we're gonna do is
So
we're
then
gonna
they help us out.
we're gonna, we're gonna take the money and we're gonna put it in a special revenue account in the general fund, so we can track it all the exact same way we wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But it
gonna
meets,
throw the whole budget off. I mean.
I've talked to Aaron about it,
Yeah, I mean,
so that's the way we have to do it legally. But what it does
Yeah.
mean is that we don't have to worry about, does this project, hey, come on in. What we don't have to worry about is, does this project meet the criteria of 17A subsection B 23, right? So, we can set our own criteria, we can dig into this with the full board about uses, what do we wanna use it for, we have a few projects kind of on our radar anyway. But the action tonight, because we wanna get this done before the end of the month, because there's this thing that happens on April 30th where the government can try to claw back the money, I think. So tonight, what we wanna do is pass a resolution to basically take the standard allowance, and so, what I would do is I would move that the town of Montgomery make a one-time irrevocable decision to elect the standard allowance approach for our ARPA award in the amount of $359,010.16 to be spent on the provision of government services throughout the period of performance of the grant. Period. And just to be clear, the period of performance is through 2026,
Oh.
is when we have to spend it by.
Okay,
So, that is my motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Great, we have a second from Suzanne. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, the motion carries. I will have Aaron accept and move those funds over to the account, and we should be good to go as far as that is
But it
concerned.
really makes you go through a lot of hoops just to come out in the end and say,
Yeah, right?
Good, I can get more gravel for Key Pixel Road.
Yeah. Well,
If I could find it.
we do want to also stay on budget elsewhere.
I know,
yes,
I
yes,
know.
yes.
I'll still
But
stay on
what we
one.
don't need to do is worry about every little project we have running up the flagpole to see whether or not it meets the provisions of X, Y, Z
Yeah.
criteria.
Alright, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So that's the ARPA decision.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Wayne, thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. At this point, we're gonna circle back to visitors unless there's any objection. So I called Wayne and basically gave him an opportunity, if he wanted to come in and chat with us about the land lease down at the Jewett property.
Yep.
This next iteration of the 5-year lease is expiring in May. We have had a proposal from the Conservation Commission that came in around some other potential things with the property, looking at some floodplain restoration work and potentially some additional community garden space. The board hasn't made any decisions yet, but I did want to just give you an opportunity to come in and just chat with us if you wanted to.
Sure,
I think, like I said on the phone, I know in the past, there's been some conversation around like manure management or herbicides.
Yep.
I mean, like, I don't think the board has any like concerns about that tonight, so I don't think we're looking for you to kind of justify how
Okay.
much manure you're spreading or anything like that.
Yeah, well, I think in my last presentation, I had my nutrient management man
Yeah.
in here, and he explained that we don't overload the land. We're injecting now, pretty much everything in open ground is injected.
Yep.
So it's put right in the ground. And as you can see, we cover crop, pretty much, even though it's flat ground, it gets cover crop, so there's no erosion.
Yeah.
And there's a good buffer around there. There's a very adequate buffer. The average buffer, I think, is 25 to 30 feet, and I bet you it's 50 to 60 feet in most areas. We looked what we were paying, and we would propose to pay $100 an acre, which is $1,700 for that.
Okay.
And
Annually?
annually, yeah. And your requirement the last 5 years is that we stop using Roundup, which we did.
Yep.
I think Roundup is a better solution, but that's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine. The herbicides have carryover.
Yeah.
Cover crop is very tolerant to herbicides, but grass seed isn't.
Mhm.
So it's something you'd have to, something that, to change that, you have to plan in ahead. And there was nothing in the agreement that we had to plan that ahead.
No.
No, that's fine. Yeah, we wouldn't hold you anything that's not.
No.
Yeah.
But I certainly, would you give me, I would certainly, because I'm a large landowner and we keep this land open up here for everybody. We don't post any of our land. I enjoy having people on our land.
Yep.
And, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I appreciate renewing the lease.
Yeah, I don't think anybody on the board's got any kind of qualms with
Yeah.
your management of it or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just a case of, it's another 5 years, so just covering all of our bases with our options.
Yep.
I'm curious, out of how much land do you guys have right now that you're between leasing and that you own, that you've got? How many?
We're cropping about 1,800 acres.
1,800, okay.
Yeah.
Just in Montgomery or?
Oh, that's all over.
Okay.
We got land in 4 towns and 2 countries.
Yeah. Wow, so are you actually you're cropping land across the border too?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Hi,
Hi,
how's it going?
there's a white Ram outside, some lights are on it.
That's mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
wouldn't want your battery to go down.
Okay, well, thanks for,
Thanks.
yeah, I thought they were supposed to go off automatically, but I guess they probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's neat. So I didn't realize you guys had land north of the border that you were managing too.
We have 82 acres in Canada.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah.
that's funny.
Is it
Well,
all,
actually-
it's all for corn? Corn?
No, we got corn and grass and a sugar place.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think one question that did come up with the lease is, one thing that we do want to do is we do want to support the agricultural community, working lands.
Yep.
Especially
Yep.
given that Montgomery, we have fairly limited, what they would rate as acceptable agricultural soils, that kind of thing. And so, when you think about that parcel and your overall operations, how do I phrase it? Like, how big of an impact would that be to your operation if that wasn't part of it? I mean,
Well, everything counts.
Yeah.
Everything counts. It'd be like you losing a good account in your, in your woodlot, it all, that's how I could explain it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Mark could tell you the same thing. If you were to lose some of your grassland, well,
yeah.
it's all, because we got a large amount of animals. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
so.
and are you trying to increase the amount of silage that you're producing now? or are
Not,
you-
not really, we're changing, corn to a much more digestible corn, but
Yeah.
it doesn't yield as well.
Mhm.
So you can feed less grain,
Yeah,
because grain right now, as you
Yeah.
probably know, is ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is just gone through the roof,
Yeah,
everything. I mean,
Yeah.
fertilizer, you know, seed, everything. It's
well, the
ridiculous.
price of milk went up, but everything
Yeah,
else
but
has
yeah,
gone up, so.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really,
So,
yeah,
yes, we're getting less yield, but we're getting more nutrient value out of what we're using. That's what they call a BMR, it's a brown rib.
Mhm.
So it's more of a total digestible plant. Doesn't have as much lignin in the stalk,
Yeah,
so that the wrong type of weather could put it down,
yeah,
because it's more digestible. So, but it doesn't yield quite as well, so.
okay.
That's why we got a few more acres, but we're changing the way we're,
Or
some
you're-
of the things we're doing,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, well, it's always adapt, always change. is the
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
if you're not adapting, you're
yeah.
dying, I guess.
have you figured out how you're getting into town this year?
It's not gonna be fun. Not gonna be fun at all.
Oh, I know.
I timed it when I was out here. I was there for close to five
Oh, yeah,
minutes.
but getting your equipment through is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Can you get
Wow,
your fleet through there? I mean, looks like there's gotta be some.
I think, I gotta talk to the St. Ange boys, but I think there's enough room to get through.
yeah,
But the worst thing is, if it was only one bridge,
yeah, I
it'd be
know,
bad. You got that one bridge, and you got that, short piece of highway in between, then you got the other one.
yeah,
So the time is gonna be longer.
oh,
And then
yeah.
you got Hill West and,
Yeah,
both coming down there, so it's
Yeah.
gonna be,
Yeah, it's gonna be a challenge.
yeah. Well, that's good. I was thinking you guys were gonna have to go up over the mountain.
Oh, no,
Back
no,
down.
no,
I was like,
no,
jeez.
No, I hope not. No, in fact, when they did the bridge in Berkshire, if they needed to, they would load our white equipment on their trailer and bring it over.
Oh,
I think they're required by the state to take care of things
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
I remember last time, they didn't have to, but they were willing to.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
No, they're great guys to work with.
Oh, yeah,
We work with them,
that's good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
imagine the right to farm
Yeah.
legislation in
Oh, no,
principle
they're-
would be like, you
And I'm glad to see they got them. I mean, it's nothing to do with the town, obviously, but I'm glad to see they're getting these bridges here.
yeah.
They do good work. They're,
Oh,
they're
yeah,
good,
yeah.
they're good guys.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
They're good
oh,
boys.
yeah.
No, it's nice to see it happen. I remember they came to the board
Absolutely.
six
Keeping it local,
or 7 years
yeah.
ago to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
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 Cool.
yeah,
yeah, so.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to pull you all the way out here. but I didn't want to
I
give you
didn't
a chance
mind.
to come in and
I
chat
just
with us
got a new
about it.
truck, so I figured I'd take
There
it
you
for
go,
a
take it
couple.
for a joyride. There you go. Figure out how the lights work, right?
I guess I will have to, yeah.
Alright, awesome.
Yeah.
How's your season coming out with sugar? And
Oh, God. What a great season.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've heard.
What a great
I heard
season.
it was a lot sweeter this year and everything.
Yeah, a lot sweeter, and it
So you-
stayed sweet right to the end.
Yeah,
Usually at the end, it's 1%,
Yeah.
yeah.
and the
Oh,
last
it
stuff,
Huh.
last stuff we brought in was 1.4.
Wow. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Couldn't
Good.
believe it. It was great.
That's good.
The only thing that really hurt us up here, you remember when that guy hit the pole down
Yeah,
there?
you lost the power, yeah.
We had
Affected
the
everybody.
releaser down the road, and we lost, we probably lost a couple barrels of syrup from sap, that, because
Oh,
the
yeah,
power was dim.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, hey, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't cry over spilt milk or sap.
Yeah, I suppose that.
It is kind of scary that they hit one pole and it knocked out that
Oh,
much power.
man, it took
Yeah.
a lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of,
Seems like poor planning.
well, yeah, but it just seems interesting that.
I guess he
one
didn't
pole-
get hurt too bad, but boy,
No.
you get that thing hard.
Oh, yeah.
And high. I mean,
Yeah.
he must have launched himself off the
Something
road.
must be, or climbed the pole for a way
Like
before it
a-
broke, I don't know.
Dukes of Hazzard kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Yeah,
And that's not the only time, just beyond on that ledge on that corner,
yeah,
I've seen a car go up that, roll over, right on its top right there.
oh, yeah.
Of course, when you come down that straightaway, you might be going a little too fast.
Yeah,
You come down that
yes.
corner.
Then
You know.
if you're not familiar with
Yeah.
the road.
If you're not familiar with the road, it can
Yeah.
sneak up on you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, okay then.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for your time,
Yeah.
and
good
I
to see you.
appreciate, give me some consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Wayne.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you do.
So we'll circle back now. So we've gone through item A under new business. Item B is the local emergency operation plan. So this is kind of a pro forma thing, we just go back through every year and just, it's mostly just double checking contact information and everything. And-
Everything's pretty much the same.
yeah, I met with Brent and Sweat, or Greg, an hour or so ago to walk back through it.
Oh,
And we have some you know, housekeeping things to take care of in here, but content-wise, nothing has changed in our local emergency operation plan. So from a plan perspective, we're good to go. The board just needs to readopt it this evening if we're okay with that. I will say that phase 2 of this is getting together with Doug, and I think we're gonna try to, I think I mentioned this last time, but do a drill in the community this summer. And so we'll work with the team to set up whatever kind of event it is that we're gonna come up with, and then actually run a real-time drill in the community for said event. So I think the idea would be that, you know, 3 or 4 of us would plan it, and then we would basically, you know, hit the button on a certain day, and the response would have to happen. And we're trying to go all out. They got our team involved, got the state police involved. We're trying to get a med chopper to come in to just, you know, actually work out landings. So that's the plan. But the thing tonight would be just that the board, it's just readopting the local emergency operations plan. So again, if anyone wants to walk through them, I can go through just the housekeeping stuff, but it's really just a case of double checking the people in the positions are correct and the phone numbers are right.
Yeah.
So if we're good with it, then we can make a motion to adopt the updated local emergency management plan.
I think I can make that motion.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
So we have a motion
I'll
from Mark,
second it.
and we have a second from Suzanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor of readopting the local emergency management plan as amended, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. And it's funny, I just noticed, these used to be called the local emergency operations plan, and now they're the local emergency management plan, which is interesting,
Yeah.
changing it up.
Yeah, let me know. I like to be involved in it.
Yeah, will do, totally. And you're in here as one of the points of
Yeah.
contact for everything, so
I figured I would.
awesome. Great. So the item C is the town land lease expiration. Wayne just came in to chat with us about their current activities there and their desire to renew it. What I'd like to do is actually hold this to the next meeting so that the full board can be involved with it. I think I'd rather make this decision as a full body than just having a partial body, so if there's no objection, we'll table that. And that brings us to overweight truck permits. Mark, if you want to do the honors of reviewing those.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Sue.
Bye, Sue.
Have a good evening.
You.
So, for those paying attention at home or on the recording, the overweight truck permits we have tonight are Fred's Plumbing and Heating, DBA Fred's Energy, GW Tatro Construction, Valencourt Transport, and Gaudet's Excavating.
So I'll make a motion to approve the overweight truck permits for Fred's Plumbing and Heating, GW Tatro Construction, Valencourt Transport, and Gaudet's Excavating.
Great, we have a motion from Mark to approve the slate that's presented. Is there a second? Great, we have a second from Suzanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, we'll vote. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries.
Where is Fred's going to? I feel like we've never had a
Fred's,
weight permit for them.
well, they have propane trucks and fuel trucks.
They must be coming up this neck of the woods now.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Oh, they've got quite a bit of business.
Yeah, they do for
They've
sure.
got a place in
I
Richmond.
just didn't know that, I'd never seen them on our roster before.
Yeah.
No, I think they've been on them.
Have they?
Yeah.
And then our only liquor license for this evening is from Darylyn Inc., also known as the Phineas Swan Bed and Breakfast.
Ooh, that's darling.
Darlin, said with a thick Tennessee Volunteers accent. We have a first class license,
She's signing all the right places.
and an outside consumption permit. So we have a first-class license and outside consumption permit for Darlin Inc. Is there a motion?
To approve the liquor license for the first and outdoor
Consumption?
consumption for Darlin.
I'll second that.
Great, we have a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, we approved the license for Darlin Inc., and that brings us through our agenda. If there's no other business to be conducted, then a motion to adjourn is always in order.
I will make a motion to adjourn
I'll
this
second that.
meeting.
Great, motion by Suzanne, seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, the meeting is adjourned. Thanks everybody for an efficient meeting, and we are going to end the recording.